In this session, we are going to look about the ITIL guiding principles. A guiding principle is a recommendation that guides an organization in all circumstances. Many things change in a day-to-day operations, like goals, key staff, strategies, type of work, management and organizational structure. Here, the guiding principles remain constant no matter what else changes. Using guiding principles allows organizations to integrate multiple ways of working and management methods within service management. For example, some organizations follow a waterfall way of working, while others use methods like Agile and DevOps. The principles allow different ways of working to be used while making sure appropriate outcomes are delivered. The guiding principles should encourage and support continual improvement. They apply across the organization at all levels and all staff should be aware of them. In each situation, staff and organizations should consider their principles and what is applicable. Not all principles are relevant in every situation, but they all need to be reviewed on each occasion to assess if they are appropriate. Looking at the ITIL guiding principles, they are focus on value, start where you are, progress iteratively with feedback, collaborate and promote visibility, think and work holistically, keep it simple and practical, In this session, like we mentioned earlier, we are going to look at the first guiding principle, which is focus on value. Everything the organization does should link back directly or indirectly to value for itself, its customers, and other stakeholders. Services that offer value are attractive to customers. Services must also offer value to the service provider organization. Focus on value can include understanding and identifying the service consumer, understanding the consumer's perspective of value, mapping value to intended outcomes and understanding that these can change over time, understanding the customer experience and/or the user experience. As a part of service provision, organizations need to know why consumers use services, what the services help them to do, and how these services help them achieve goals, the cost to the consumer, the risks for the consumer. To apply this principle, service provider organizations need to consider how consumers use each service and how to encourage all of their staff to focus on value, how to maintain a focus on value in day-to-day operations and not just as an improvement project. Lastly, how to embed focus on value in every single improvement initiative. An organization's employees can only focus on value if they understand what value looks like for their particular organization as well as its consumers. Does an organization value profit above everything else? Or does it value long-term customer relationships or perhaps being seen as an innovator? In organizations with many layers of management and a hierarchical structure, value might only be understood at senior levels. Frontline workers may be seen as less important and so value isn't communicated to them. Adopting a flatter structure with fewer layers of management can help to communicate key concepts like value to all employees so that they can work effectively. We are going to look at the second guiding principle of ITIL, which is start where you are. In the process of eliminating old unsuccessful methods or services and creating something better, there can be better temptation to remove what has been done in the past and build something completely new. This is rarely necessary or a wise decision. This approach can be extremely wasteful not only in terms of time but also in terms of loss of the existing services, processes, people, and tools that could have been a significant value in the improvement effort. Do not start over without first considering what is already available to be leveraged. Change can be an evolution or a revolution. Revolution is more disruptive and can have unforeseen negative consequences. Before making any change or improvement, it's important to assess the current position and see if anything can be reused or built upon. Start where you are can include assess where you are, observe current practices, services, processes, and methods. Use measurements to analyze what is being observed. Remember that measuring can affect the results of what is measured. To apply this principle successfully, service provider organizations need to consider being as objective as possible about what exists currently, assessing whether current practices and services can or should be replicated or expanded, using risk management skills to support decision making, and recognizing that sometimes nothing from the current state can be reused. Measurement is described as being particularly important for this principle. What to measure and how is a challenge for many organizations. For IT-enabled products and services, measurement must be considered as a part of the design process. It is much more difficult to try to retrofit measurement after a product or service is live and in use. Measurement then needs to be reviewed continually for usefulness. Are the right people getting the right information to make the right decisions? If not, what needs to change? Some technical organizations are embracing the concept of observability. Observability is achieved when a system is understandable, which is difficult in today's environment of increasing software complexity, where most problems are the convergence of many different things failing at once. One early definition of software observability focused on the three so-called pillars of logs, metrics, and traces. That was a first good effort at shifting the priorities of the industry, but the definition is flawed. A better and more contemporary litmus test for observability is: can you ask the right questions? And can you do it in a way that's predictable, fast, and scalable over time without having to re-instrument or launch new code? We're going to look at the third ITIL guiding principle: progress iteratively with feedback. Resist the temptation to do everything at once. Even huge initiatives must be accomplished iteratively. By organizing work into smaller, manageable sections that can be executed and completed in a timely manner, the focus on each effort will be sharper and easier to maintain. Feedback can help service provider organizations to understand the end user and customer perception of value, the efficiency and effectiveness of their services and value chain, the effectiveness of governance and management controls, the interfaces between the organization, suppliers, and partners, demand for products and services, and improvement opportunities, risks, and issues. Working iteratively and using feedback helps service provider organizations to be more flexible, responsive to changing requirements, capable of identifying and responding to failures, and quality focused. To successfully apply this principle, service provider organizations need to consider comprehending the whole but doing something starting small. That the ecosystem is always changing, so feedback is essential. And going fast doesn't mean work is incomplete. Iterations may be small, but they are still producing results. How do we know if feedback is meaningful or accurate? Some service provider organizations dismiss feedback if they feel that it represents a dissatisfied minority. It is true that tools like customer satisfaction surveys are often completed by consumers or customers who feel either extremely positive or extremely negative about their experience. Service providers need to follow the basics of statistical sampling and avoid biased sampling techniques. Now we are going to talk about the ITIL guiding principle number 4, which is collaborate and promote visibility. When initiatives involve the right people in the correct roles, efforts benefit from better buy-in, more relevance because better information is available for decision making, and increased likelihood of long-term success. Collaboration can happen anywhere, inside and outside of the organization. Promoting visibility makes work more transparent in the organization. This helps everyone to understand what is a priority, balance improvement work and daily work, understand the flow of work, understand where there are bottlenecks, understand where time, money, and resources are being wasted. And to apply this principle successfully, service provider organizations need to consider that collaboration does not mean consensus. It's not essential that everyone agrees, but everyone must understand why decisions are made. Communication must match the audience. Different stakeholder groups will need a different message and communication type. Good decisions can only be made where there is visible data to support them. Collaboration just won't happen. The leaders within a service provider organization need to create an environment where collaboration can thrive and be rewarded. Collaboration thrives in high trust environments which are characterized by good communication, support between individuals, respect, fairness, and predictability. Think about your own organization and whether it is ready for more collaborative working and what needs to change. The fifth ITIL guiding principle is think and work holistically. No service, practice, process, department, or supplier stands alone. The outputs that the organization delivers to itself, its customers, and other stakeholders will suffer unless it works in an integrated way to handle its activities as a whole. All the organization's activities should be focused on the delivery of value. To apply this principle successfully, service provider organizations need to understand that the complexity of the system will affect how this principle is applied. Higher complexity can create more challenges. Collaboration supports holistic thinking and working. Automation is another thing that can support holistic working. Patterns in the needs of and interactions between system elements can help identify the holistic viewpoint. Much recent management thinking has focused on functional specialization. Value streams are divided into tasks and resources are directed towards completing one individual task in as near a perfect way as possible. For example, think about a fast food outlet with one team member preparing fries, one assembling burgers, one serving customers. This can be highly effective but also adds a risk that the team members lose sight of the bigger picture. If the team member assembling the burgers decides to save time by leaving out the pickle, thinking no one likes it anyway, they create problems with the team members serving customers who has to deal with the complaints. Think about your own role and your team's role within your organization. How do you and your team fit into the big picture? The next guiding principle is keep it simple and practical. Always use the minimum number of steps to accomplish an objective. Outcome-based thinking should be used to produce practical solutions that deliver valuable outcomes. Processes and services are designed to meet the majority of customers' needs. Every exception cannot be designed for. It is better to create rules that can be used to handle exceptions when necessary. To successfully apply this principle, service provider organizations need to ensure value comes from every activity. Recognize that simplicity can be more challenging to create than complexity. Do fewer things, do them better. Respect people's time, don't make them do unnecessary work. Consider that simplicity can support quick wins, and remember that processes or services that are easy to understand are more likely to be used. In the DevOps community, process is sometimes described as the scar tissue that organizations develop over time. What this statement describes is the way an organization will add extra steps and checks and balances each time something goes wrong to try and prevent the same situation happening in future. For example, a software patch that has been manually tested might fail in the live environment. In response, an automated test is added and a requirement for sign-off from a test manager. If the patch fails again, sign-off might also be included from a change manager or the application owner. Unintentionally, organizations add complexity to how they work, which can lead to unintended outcome of employees circumventing the process entirely. This principle is advising us to continually reassess how we work and look for ways to make things simpler without compromising value. The next guiding principle, the seventh guiding principle, is optimize and automate. Organizations must maximize the value of work carried out by their human and technical resources. The 4 dimensions model provides a holistic view of various constraints, resource types, and other areas that should be considered when designing, managing, or operating an organization. Technology can help organizations to scale up and take on frequent and repetitive tasks, allowing human resources to be used for more complex decision making. However, technology should not always be relied upon without the capability of human intervention, as automation for automation's sake can increase cost and reduce organizational robustness and resilience. Before an activity can be effectively automated, it should also be optimized to whatever degree is possible and reasonable. Automation typically refers to the use of technology to perform a step or a series of steps correctly and consistently with limited or no human intervention. Optimization activities include understanding and agreeing the context for optimization, assessing the current state, agreeing the future state and prioritize, focusing on simplification and value, ensuring stakeholder engagement and commitment, executing improvements iteratively, and monitoring the impact of optimization continually. It's important to simplify and or optimize activities before automation is attempted. Automation can include focusing on simplification and optimizing before automation, defining metrics to measure impact and value, using complementary guiding principles, progress iteratively with feedback, keeping it simple and practical, focusing on value, and starting where you are. So we hope that this session helped you understand about the 7 guiding principles of ITIL. In the next sessions, we'll come up with more interesting and informative topics which will help you understand how ITIL can be beneficial for your career. Thank you.